5 things to know for May coronavirus, reopening, Senate, economy, Hezbollah 1. Coronavirus. We could be in for another 2 years of coronavirus misery, according to a new report from a team of pandemic experts. There are several scenarios modeled in the report, but all of them conclude with about 60% to 70% of the U.S. population contracting the virus. Whether there's a devastating second wave or a series of smaller ones depends on the country's preparedness. The experts behind the report say the way the virus will stop is by achieving herd immunity, but that's not a universally shared view. In Germany, scientists say herd immunity there would be nearly impossible to achieve. Instead, they recommended bringing infections down to manageable levels and then implementing contact tracing to track and stop the spread of the disease. 2. Reopening guidelines. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has put together a series of guidelines to help states safely reopen to the public. The 17-page document provides guidance under 6 categories: child care programs, schools and day camps, communities of faith, employers with vulnerable workers, restaurants and bars, and mass transit. In general, the CDC recommends reopening in stages, limiting large gatherings and encouraging limited capacities in places like restaurants. In schools that reopen, students are encouraged to sit 6 feet apart. In restaurants, the CDC recommends disposable menus, plates and utensils, and discourages the use of self-serve drink machines. The guidelines come as more states move toward reopening. Federal social distancing guidelines also expired at the end of April. 3. Senate. The Senate is eyeing a return to the Hill by the middle of next week, but not everyone is happy with the arrangement. Democratic staffers say the decision by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to reconvene the body is unpopular, and some senators say it's still too risky, given the state of the pandemic. Still, McConnell has made it clear he wants the Senate to discuss the next economic funding bill and work on confirming more of President Trump's judicial nominees. Senate offices will take precautions to limit the number of people in the chamber, but the Capitol's attending physician says they still lack the capacity to regularly test all senators for the disease. Only people who are feeling ill will be able to get tested. 4. Economy. The Federal Reserve is expanding its emergency Main Street lending program. This means larger companies and those with more debt can tap into funds meant to limit damage from the coronavirus crisis. The program will now accept applications from companies with up to 15,000 employees or up to $5 billion in annual revenue. At the same time, the program will welcome smaller companies. The Fed said the minimum loan size will double to $1 million. The moves come after national restaurant chains such as Shake Shack and Ruth's Chris were slammed for participating in the Paycheck Protection Program, which was intended to aid small businesses. Unlike the Paycheck Protection Program, loans from the Main Street program aren't forgivable. It's still unclear when the program expansion will launch. 5. Hezbollah. Germany has designated the Lebanese militant and political group Hezbollah a terrorist organization and banned any activities related to it. The country's interior ministry says Hezbollah calls for the violent elimination of the State of Israel. The move by Germany comes after a sustained campaign by the United States and Israel to crack down on Hezbollah's activities. Now, the designation could impact Lebanon's coronavirus response. Hezbollah is the leading political and military force in Lebanon. So far, the European Union recognizes the two parts separately, and only the military side is classified as a terrorist group. With this distinction, the EU can politically engage with Hezbollah, which has been key in battling the spread of the virus in Lebanon. If the EU follows Germany's lead and classifies the whole group as a terrorist organization, that critical cooperation could break down.